Is your Puppeteer or Playwright script getting blocked by CAPTCHAs? Whether you know exactly where they will show up in your flow or have no idea, stick around because today I'll show you how to handle both programmatically with our manual solve method and our automatic solve method. You're most likely running into one of the two scenarios. You're either being forced to solve a CAPTCHA every single time on things that enforce a CAPTCHA like certain forms, or you're getting it intermittently, which depends on whether the site thinks you're a bot or not. So what are sites actually looking at to make that call? On the bot side, data center IP addresses that were already flagged as bots, missing or inconsistent browser headers, no mouse movements or interaction patterns that seem a bit off, and a browser fingerprint that screams automation. On the human side, a residential IP address with a clean reputation, headers that match what a real browser sends, and normal navigation behavior like realistic clicking and typing, besides a very human-like browser fingerprint. The further your script is from that human column, the more likely you are to get a CAPTCHA. A browser fingerprint is built from things like your screen resolution, time zone, installed fonts, WebGL renderer, and how your browser handles JavaScript. The site combines all of that to build a profile of who you are. Browserless handles all of that under the hood to give you a human-looking fingerprint, so you don't need any extra libraries or plugins. In this video, we'll show you how to set up the most human-looking browser session possible, and when a CAPTCHA still shows up anyway, we'll teach you how to solve it programmatically without leaving your script. Let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do before even thinking about solving CAPTCHAs is to make sure your browser session looks as human as possible. Browserless has a built-in stealth endpoint that handles that for you. Whether you're using Puppeteer or Playwright with the connect over CDP method, all you need to do is swap your connection endpoint from Chromium or Chrome to stealth, and that's basically it. Under the hood, the stealth endpoint patches your browser fingerprint with signals that sites sniff to detect automation. If you pair that with a residential proxy, you're covering both sides of the equation, a human-looking fingerprint and a clean residential IP address. To add our built-in residential proxies, append the proxy equals residential flag and optionally a country with proxy country equals US, for example, to your connection URL just like this. And if you'd rather bring your own proxy, you can do that too with the external proxy server flag instead. For most sites, that combination alone is enough to never see a CAPTCHA in the first place, but that's not always the case. Some sites run an active CAPTCHA that show up no matter how human your session looks. I bet you've seen one of those on your own browser, and there's a way to solve those programmatically as well. So that's where the solving comes in, and that's what the rest of this video is about. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's say your attempt to make your bot look like a human failed. Now we need to detect the CAPTCHA and make sure we solve it. Browserless exposes this through CDP, which is the Chrome DevTools protocol, with a custom event called browserless.CAPTCHAFound. This event fires automatically when Browserless detects a CAPTCHA on the page, so your script can react to it instead of polling or guessing. In Puppeteer, you create a CDP session directly from the page, then you listen for the event. Playwright works slightly different just because it uses its own browser protocols by default. That means you need to get the CDP session from the page context instead. Other than that one small line difference, the pattern is identical across both libraries. Once that event fires, we know there's a CAPTCHA on the site and we're ready to solve it. Browserless gives you a single command for this, browserless.solveCaptcha, and you can call it through the same CDP session you used to detect it. It returns two things, solved, a boolean telling you whether it worked, and error, which tells you what went wrong if it didn't. Now here's something super important. Always set up your CDP session and listener before calling goto. That way you're guaranteed to catch the event no matter what, because sometimes the CAPTCHA loads at the same time that you're navigating, so if you call it after, it might not be caught. We're including a residential proxy in these scripts since it significantly improves solve rates. If you want to save on units, you can remove the proxy residential flag or the proxy country set to US from the connection URL and test without it, but the success rate may be affected. Even using a third-party proxy can improve your rates. Remember, you can do that with external proxy server. Let's walk through the full Puppeteer script. Notice that we create the CDP session and set up the listener before goto. The promise just sits there waiting. Then we navigate, and by the time goto resolves, the CAPTCHA has already been detected and solved. Also notice the 30-second timeout. Without that, on a page with no CAPTCHA, this promise would hang. So let's wrap it instead. And it's the same pattern in Playwright. Let's take a look at the Playwright script. As you can see, it has the same structure. We're setting up the listener before navigation, awaiting it after, and wrapping it in a timeout so it doesn't hang on pages where no CAPTCHA shows up. So far, we've been manually listening for the CAPTCHA event and solving it ourselves. But what if you don't know when or where a CAPTCHA might appear in your automation? Say a login page, a checkout form, or a pop-up halfway through your script. That's exactly what the solveCaptchas flag is for. It's a flag that allows you to have every single one of them solved automatically, no matter where or when the CAPTCHAs appear. So let's add solveCaptchas equals true as a query parameter to your connection URL, and Browserless will auto-solve any CAPTCHA it finds. The listener isn't really triggering the solve. That's already happening in the background. You're just using it to know when the CAPTCHA is done so you can move on to the next step in your script. So we're using the same stealth endpoint from earlier, just add that solveCaptchas equals true and you're all set. Behind the scenes, Browserless runs a polling loop for the entire lifetime of your session. It's scanning for CAPTCHAs, solving them automatically, and injecting the token directly into the page DOM. Instead of listening for browserless.captcha found, now you listen for browserless.captcha auto solved, which only fires in auto mode and gives you the token, whether it was found, whether it was solved, and how long it took. And the same rule applies as before. Attach the listener before goto and include a residential proxy. If you take a look at this script, you'll notice that we start on the 2CAPTCHA homepage, click through the reCAPTCHA v2 demo page, which is a link, and the CAPTCHA gets solved automatically on that second page after navigation without doing anything extra. The listener we attached at the start survives the navigation, and then the auto solving catches it. That's the real value of this flag. You set it once on the connection URL and you don't have to fire off the CAPTCHA solver manually. All you need to do is check if a CAPTCHA was solved before you submit anything on the page. Alright, that's a wrap. Now you know how to solve CAPTCHAs with Puppeteer and Playwright using Browserless, and if you want to try these snippets out, you can get started on the free tier. Stealth paths and residential proxies are available on the free plan. Just keep in mind you will need a paid plan for solving CAPTCHAs. And a quick note on the cost. Each successful solve costs 10 units against your monthly allowance, and this feature is available on all of our paid plans. It's not available on the free plan, but we have a very affordable plan called the prototyping tier that you can use to test this out. And if this workflow using Puppeteer and Playwright to solve CAPTCHAs is not working for your use case, don't worry, we have other methods to solve CAPTCHAs. I would recommend that you look into our BQL tool, which also has solving CAPTCHAs capabilities, and it also allows you to connect right into Puppeteer and Playwright after solving the CAPTCHA. We'll cover that in a separate video. And if you found this useful, hit the subscribe button because we have more videos coming out on browser automation, scraping, and everything in between. This was Alejandro from Browserless. I hope you liked this video. See you on the next one.